What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the 5th episode of One Direct Priority. This one's titled The Girl Flautist? I think it's Flautist, or is it Flautist? I can never pronounce that word correctly. It's not very often I have to use that word. So, yeah. This show is incredible. Visually, and I think in the message they're trying to convey. This is one of those shows that first watch through gets you the idea, but I think multiple watch throughs and it's another one of those shows that you kind of have to dig into and understand and really toy around with a lot of the ideas they're throwing out. It's not something that you can just pick up and it's like, that tells you exactly what you're meant to think, or what you're meant to feel, or what you're meant to be trying to look into. It's very much a, what's the correct way to really phrase this? It's very much a, here's all the information. Well, here's the information as we depict it. Go find out what this means to you, essentially, and how you interpret it and what message you want to try and get out of it, because they're not obvious with it. It's not like they're saying, this is how this character feels and therefore this is what is happening. Like, it's not, it's subtle. This show is very subtle with some of the things it's trying to do, and overall, like I've mentioned before with Laszlo's posts on AniList and such, which have been very interesting to read, recent episodes have had a very big showcase of sexuality and that sort of impact. I mean, we've had multiple times storylines relating to that, especially for Momoe, who seems to have a very strong connection to that, both in terms of the things we've been solving, but also the conditions for their person they're trying to save, Haruka. If I remember correctly, Haruka is the one they're trying to save. And again, just the one real line we've had from them was, touch me. Again, implying a very sexual atmosphere to it. I don't know if that's... Again, the problem with English subtitling is, and just in general, the context of what they're saying doesn't necessarily come about. That's one of the biggest problems, I believe, that comes from English subtitling of Japanese stories. Is like, if we heard it in English or dubbed, for example, you can get particular nuance, especially when it comes to Japan and love, like ski. Like, that can mean so many things depending on how you say it, why you're saying it, and the context you're saying it. And that's something that I think English subtitling struggles with a lot when it comes to that. So when Haruka says, touch me, I kind of interpreted that as a semi-sexual, but also a case of, you can touch me, and it's like, I'm consenting to this. Like, that's kind of what I got out of it. But just those words alone, touch me, can mean so much different things, and I'm sure the Japanese viewers will have a better understanding of it. I feel like Rex is probably going to give me some context for that. I think Rex is watching the show along with me, right? Like, Rex is very, very helpful to me, and I very much appreciate Rex's insights on a lot of this. I don't know if Rex is actually watching One Direct. This definitely feels like a show that Rex would watch, honestly. I just trying to remember if Rex is commenting on this one. Let's go back. Yes, Rex is watching this one, so hopefully Rex is going to be helpful here. Thank you, as always. Like, mentioning, like, Lighthouse. Lighthouse is, like, important in terms of saying and stuff. Like, Rex has been very, very helpful in all this. But yeah, the general themes I'm getting overall from the show, more recently, was the sexuality thing. Maybe we'll explore that a bit more. Maybe that's going to link to, what's her face? Eyes. It's learning of Koito and what caused Koito's, essentially death, suicide, whatever. But also, another main theme of this show is grief. Like, straight up, it's grief. All these different characters are dealing with the grief they have of losing someone that means a lot to them. I being Koito, Rika being her wallet, Chiemi, although that's only just her way of dealing with. But you can see there's a huge contrast between the way Nieru, and Rika all deal with the grief they've got. Momoe, we haven't seen a great deal of just yet, just because we've only been introduced to them, but I'm sure as time progresses, we see how Momoe deals with the grief they have for Haruka. And again, I'm still not trusting of Akka and Uraka, because why would these benevolent entities exist? To help these people. I mean, I guess this is them giving therapy to these characters in a weird way. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But we did get a good moment at the end that is going to be relevant. Momoe's surname is Sawaki, and that is the name of the counselor slash teacher that is very frequently visiting Ai's mother and wondering about Ai, and seems to have links to Koito as well. Everything is pointing to Sawaki being somewhat, or rather very integral to Koito's situation, to the point of where they're framing him as a potential reason. I don't know if that's the case, or if that's part of the narrative they want to show. Is like, just because it all looks like this, don't jump to conclusions, because you don't have the full story. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting, but I don't trust Sawaki inherently. And it's entirely possible that the Sawaki is a coincidence, but I guess we'll see as time goes on. Anyway, I've spoken for long enough already. It's not the longest intro I've done, but it feels very long to me, so we're just going to get into this. As per usual, these are time-based form reactions. If you want to see full picture-in-picture, you can go to my Patreon down in the description below. £4 a month gets you access to all picture-in-picture reactions I do on the channel, which is everything from this season and future seasons. Certain backdated shows, Patreon request shows, and such that are going on. That I will be getting to. I apologise to all those who are waiting for their reaction requests. My timing schedule, as you can tell by the release date of this video compared to my normal release times, is all sorts of messed up right now. But here on YouTube, we have to do timer-based. So bottom left of the screen, you'll see the time for the episode. I count down 3, 2, 1, play. Then on play, you start the episode, I start the episode, and we'll be in sync. Watching this one on Funimation as per usual, since that's who likes it this season. We have the Aniplex logo, then the Funimation logo, so about 12 seconds of logos, give or take. I'll call them out as they go past. You can also use screen flash on my face on the mic to tell when this is transitioning. So, with all that said, let's get into this week's episode, shall we? In 3, 2, 1, play. Aniplex. And Funimation. Cheers. Here we go. Holy shit. We're dealing with an egg. Your god, okay. What smell? This is the one where, I guess, saving. Run away. Capitalism, okay. Okay. Huh. Again, the love sexual thing is just... Hmm. No. Oh, she has a sniper rifle. Of course she does. Nice. Holy shit. Nice. What volume all the way? Yes, it is. Nice shot. Why is his mind down there? Are they just trying to imply he was thinking with his dick? Is that what they're implying? Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. That's the first time we've seen Neru deal with an egg, right? Like properly? Can't remember. Here we go. It still gives you a little bit of chills every time. Such a unique OP in that way. Alright, the Gal Flautist. AFI? Yep. Mm-hmm. Niece, okay. So they are related, but not quite as related. Yep. She has her friend group now. Uh-huh. I'm really implying a lot with this. Oh boy, this is gonna be dumb. Oh no, she's actually gonna pose that question. Hmm. Uh-huh. Okay. They're really framing him as suspicious, aren't they? Hmm. Jesus. Right. I'm not talking about a relative. Right. There's a lot of ambiguity on that. That's possible. Wow, they're really trying to make him out the bad guy. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Right. Yes. Yes. Keep it a secret. Mm-hmm. Is this I? Hmm. Hmm. But also talking with her. Hmm. Really trailing information on that. What's my boy doing? Interesting form of Tetris. Ah. Jesus. There we go. Well, I don't know about that. Hmm. Doesn't care, but. Hmm. Of course, mirror, mirror on the wall. Hmm. Hmm. That's creepy. Understatement. Uh, hmm. 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 You accidentally rejected her. Hmm. I got quite serious. It all opened up. Ah. Hmm. Okay. Got a full arcade and everything. Mm-hmm. That's fair. Hmm. Soldiers need their rest, yes. Hmm. 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 We're actually bringing this up, huh? That makes sense. That's actually a point. That's actually a point. What? Holy shit. That's not just... That's less of a stab, more of a fucking slash. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be her, isn't it? Her beauty. Hmm. Hmm. I didn't see the number on the egg. I think that was another K question mark 196 or whatever the other one was. I'll go back for that, so just to make sure. Aye, aye. And Momo, what about Rika? Yep, still there. Hmm. Hmm. What an interesting episode again. This show is, again, it's something else. It really is. All right. Punch Drunk Day. Okay. Okay. Another very, very interesting episode. I'm very glad. I'm very glad Rika brought up the whole selfishness aspect of that, because that's something that actually I think about quite often when it comes to these sorts of situations, and it's a very sensitive subject to discuss, right? Suicides and the like, especially when it's someone close to you that you know has done it, or someone who's very close to you has just had someone close to them do it. Like, it's a very difficult subject to talk about in general. And I like this show because it's now making that something that we should be talking about. And I think that might be partially the message of the show, being able to openly talk about it. And for that, I'm very appreciative that this is giving a medium in order to discuss it. But, yeah, it's actually kind of poignant because this is something that is recently very relevant. In the past week, a friend of mine has had a situation like this to contest with, so it's very oddly timed. But yeah, the selfishness aspect of it, I want to go back and see if I can actually get the actual right line, just so I'm not misquoting. Yeah, is it worth risking our lives for someone selfish enough to kill themselves? That is a question on how selfish it is. But suicide in general is not so simple, cut and dry. It's not. It's so complex and so nuanced that you can never, unless you're in that mindset yourself, you can never understand. Like, I'm a very logical person in that regard, and I think my logical nature sometimes overtakes my emotional nature, especially when it comes to things like suicides and such. It's like, I think I often come across as very logical and harsh, or what else is the other word I'm looking for? Unempathetic, maybe, in those situations. I guess is kind of yeah, it's a weird one to talk about. And yeah, it does play into Rika's general character in that she's not a very inward-looking person in the fact of, she very much has outbursts. She's a very outburst-type person, and masks those insecurities to an extent, because, like, she didn't want to open up about why she was actually doing it with Chiemi. She's just like, oh, I need my wallet back. And she very much puts on that front to people that she's not particularly close with. But as she's gotten closer to all these people, she's, like, being a bit more honest with herself. But it's a good point. It's very good questions as well being raised. Like, do these people who have killed themselves want to come back to life? Not all of them do. I'm sure if you could physically ask people who had done that in the real world, I'm sure some of them would regret that decision. I'm sure. Others, I don't think, would. And that's the thing you got to contend with. It's like, should we be doing this to bring them back when it might be against their wishes and the circumstances of what happened? Because with every single situation of this, we are not 100% clear on what happened. Has no idea why Koito would kill herself, but is assuming that it's got something to do with her associating with Ai. And that's about all we've got. There's potential for Sawaki to be involved as well. But we're still very ambiguous as to why that happened. Rika and Chiemi, it is assumed that by Rika pushing her away, Chiemi went and killed herself just on that. That does track just because Chiemi was so attached to Rika in that instance. And it does make sense as to maybe that would be a reasonable not reasonable. In her state, it was a rational choice to go through with that, albeit extreme. But especially in adolescence, your hormones and emotions are all over the place. Like, yeah, if something bad happens to you in your adolescent period and you're like, and you're worked up, it feels like the worst thing in the world. When realistically, in the grand scheme of things, it's so minor, but you can't help but feel that it's something that's world destroying to you. And as such, the extreme options become, well, rational. And that's concerning, that such extremes and can overtake the basic human instinct to survive. Like, the fact that you can get to that point is quite scary. And as a logical person, like I said, I can never understand that. I could never understand that mentality. Part of me doesn't want to understand, because if I did understand it, I would question some of my logical nature and be like, well, if it isn't quite so irrational to do, like, I'm scared where that rabbit hole might lead me, to an extent. So, yeah, it's very weird. Now, the sister, what the hell is up with the sister going and stabbing? Well, it's not even a stab. Like, I was expecting, like, a small incision, like in the back makes sense. But, like, the huge gash down there is, like, that's more than a stab. Like, that's way more than just a simple stab. Unless she did go at her, like, whoosh. Like, maybe. But, like, normally a stab, especially in, like, Japanese production stuff, I insinuate as a hook and just one time. Like, that's what I imagine a stab is, normally, in most productions. Like, think, Reincarnated the Slime episode 1, when he died. That was a stab. But, yeah, that was quite messed up. I'm curious as to what the actual context of that is. Like, why did she stab her sister? Stress? Like, what was going on in her life at that point? There's so much going on, and it's going to be such an interesting reveal when we get towards the end. Because towards the end, we're going to understand the full meaning of why this was done. Now, they're either going to do something like that and say, this is why this was happening, or they're going to leave it very open for interpretation. I don't quite know what way the show wants to go yet. It might just leave it very open to interpretation as to how you feel about the subject, or it's going to try and have its own narrative that it wants to show you and be like, hey, not everything is as it seems. Like, that's definitely what it is. It's definitely saying, like, don't just judge everything on face value. It's definitely saying there's more to everything. But I think pretty much every show has that theme to an extent, really, right? So, yeah, this is such a unique show. It's so unique. I don't know of another show quite like this. I know a lot of people are comparing it to Madoka. I don't know if it definitely has its moments, but it's something more than even Madoka was at this point. Madoka had the psychological horror. This has not gone into the horror side of things. Yet. That's what's getting me. I don't know quite where they're going with this. Uraraka and Aka are still something's off-putting about them, but maybe that's just because I'm distrustful of characters like that. But I guess we'll see. It's such a brilliant experience, and I'm so glad that I'm going on this journey with you guys, because, again, I don't know if this is a show I would necessarily have watched on my own. Because, like I've said many a times on this channel, by actually starting pretty much every show in a season, like, I probably watch about 85-90% of all shows that start in a season. I give a first episode at least to try and give them 3 episodes to really capture me, and then see where we go from there. I don't know if this is a show I necessarily would have picked out just by myself to actually watch. It does look pretty, but there was not very much information about it to begin with, so I was like, I don't know what this is, I can't be bothered to watch it. Like, that's my mentality from a couple of years ago when I was just first really getting into anime, but now I've tried to widen my horizons as much as physically possible. It doesn't matter the genre, it doesn't matter what the show looks like, I want to give it a chance to see where the interest lies and see if I do get interested, because I'm a very broad person when it comes to my interests. I can watch anything from horror, thriller, comedy, romance. Romance is a personal favorite of mine. I know that at this point, but that's only because I've watched so many that I know that. But mecha, sci-fi, ancient history, it's like I can find interest in everything. I don't, just because I like romance shows doesn't mean I like all romance shows. Just because I like horror shows doesn't mean I like all horror shows. I can pick and choose different works from all these genres, and my music taste is very much the same. I can like all types of music, from screamo to electro, dance, country. It's like, it doesn't matter the genre of music. If I like the song, I like the song. If I like the artist, I like the artist. So I'm just very broad in that sense, and yeah, I'm just glad I am taking this approach to new shows so I can give all of them their opportunity, as it were. But yeah, I've spoke for long enough, and I'm kind of talking off topic now of the show. But yeah, this show is absolutely fantastic. It's also a brilliant. It's also just a brilliant journey and thing for us to talk about as well in the comments. Like, this is one of those shows that I want to talk as much as I physically can in the comments with you guys about and hear your opinions and stuff. So please leave your comments down below, as well as leaving a like on the episode. Great for engagement and growing the channel, but also just because this is the show that needs to be talked about. You can't just watch, enjoy, and move on. I don't think this is that type of show. You have to talk about and think about this show in a greater sense than that. And that's what I really, really love about it, and what makes this unique, I think, from most other shows. So don't forget to subscribe as well to see next week's episode, as well as the rest of the Winter 2021 lineup you can find on the channel. Going for 750 subs by the end of the season. I think we're about 60 or so away from that. I think we can absolutely smash that. So thank you everyone for watching. Until next time, see you guys later.